There's unending message and dreams of being heavy-headed. Found my truth and searched for exits.
So, step 6, lights and irrigation. I have good news. Both of those things have grown leaps and bounds. Like the industry has made both of those things way more efficient, way more productive, way less money spent to do what they used to do. All right. So, so that is like really good news for everybody because, you know, for example, and I'm not sure how this happened. I'm going to give I'm going to guess that the marijuana industry was a large contributor. I know that that's the case when it comes to lighting. We have LEDs now that are that last 5 times as long and are 5 times more powerful than the old standard halogens that we would use. Professional lighting now, the cost has gone so far down compared to what it used to be. So take advantage of that. Lighting, so look at the pictures of the gardens that we've done. You can see like what you get. This is all like, this is what you get. Just an amazing, it's like looking at a movie set, all right? And except it's your backyard. It doesn't really cost anything, because it's low voltage lighting, right? That's what we're talking about. It doesn't cost much at all, pennies, to leave the lights on for quite a while at nighttime. And, you know, there's a big security benefit to that, right? So, so many benefits to lighting that. Okay, so now moving on to irrigation. With irrigation, the drip irrigation systems now are so much more efficient than the big sprinkler systems that used to just kind of spill water like, you know, like as if it was like an endless supply, could just spread it willy-nilly anywhere. We don't do that anymore. We have very focused irrigation systems. Obviously, there's a whole other thing about lawns, but we can even use, with lawns, when we use sprinkler systems, right, to do lawns, we don't use drip irrigation. Those sprinklers that are made today have a low volume, there's a low volume sprinklers, and we can manipulate the length of time and the specific time of day that it's watering the grass and adjust it to rainfall or drought and things like that. So we're really just using the amount of water that we need when we need it. Same with drip irrigation, it's the same thing. We have it on a digital timer. We can set it to run exactly when we need it to run. We can put the emitters right at the roots of whatever plant or specimen or vegetable or whatever it is that we're growing. We'll have an emitter right there so that it's getting just the amount of drip water that it needs for the duration of time that it needs at the time of day that it can benefit the most. All right, so we have all these controls. The expenses for them have come way down, and the efficiency has gone way up.
Okay,
all right?
So just a little bit about irrigation and lighting. I always put those together because when you're designing a garden, if you do those two things together, you're going to save yourself a lot of time, because the trenches, any conduit that you might want to put in, obviously if you're running irrigation lines, same thing, any conduit that you're putting in for that, or whatever type of lines you're going to use, PVC, any trenching that you would do when you're building the garden the first time, you want to plan that ahead as part of the hardscape before you do the plantings. So very simple setup here. We just ran 1/2 inch around the parameter of this garden. This stuff is really easy to work with, that lock system. I'm not pushing any products here. Some of you may recognize this. For now, I just wanted to show you that this is a really quick, easy setup. We just punch holes in this to run our spaghetti lines. Oh, you can see one back there. And then we staple those lines in using the standard, like same staples you would use for sod. You know, give it a couple more wraps around a larger like tree like this. And then usually just do like an S-curve around annuals. When we set the timer up, we're only going to put it on for like maybe 4 minutes a day. Since the drip irrigation, the emitters on it are getting the water right to the roots.
Hey, we're dealing with our front yard, right? It's just a big square, really. This is the beautiful little serpentine path to our home. And then we have gardens over here. I'm going to go after the corners. We're just roughing this out. But our raised beds, our garden areas are on either side of these corners, on these upper corners. And then maybe in the front areas, we have lawn. Okay, so we'll call this a lawn area, garden area. Over here we have our spigot, and then we've installed a little GFC electric outlet over here. So we're going to dig out the whole parameter, and that gives us a space to drop our lines, our hard pipe, our PVC
our through lines or our conduit for electric. Again, it's just low voltage electric line, but we still want to protect it around the perimeter. We're not actually connecting anything, right? We're just getting an idea where we need to connect things. So our plan right now is going to be to put a rotor right here, another one right here, and another one right here. And we'll do the same on this side. And rotors being just what they say, they rotate. Pressure pulls that up and it rotates. What's important about that is we're just connecting funny pipe directly to that PVC. So that funny pipe, if it gets cut or have a problem with the sprinkler head, it's easy to swap that out or fix it. No big deal. Same thing with the electric line. The electric line is even simpler. The low voltage electric line can actually just be anywhere in the garden. These are just shallow lines that can be pulled out at any point in time. When you're working, you would just go to the lamp, pull that stake out, and move it while you do whatever work. The idea here is to prevent any potential breakage that might occur years down the road when somebody is trying to do some work, move a transplant, a shrub, or add some annuals. Just the likelihood of cutting a line. All you need to do is pull this lamp out of the way, and you can do your business, and then put it back, bury it again with mulch if need be. All right, so let's make this just a little bit more interesting. Let's say we want to mix spray heads with rotors, right? Remember, we put rotors around the garden area. The rotors are going to throw water all the way over here. But we wanted to use spray heads so we get a nice mist effect on the lawn area. In that case, we just need to extend this. Now we can add 2 more heads, and these could be spray heads. This is a spray head. All right, okay. Boop, boop, boop. So now we have, for our lawn, a nice even mist spray heads, and then in our raised bed in our garden, we're using rotors to just chug water into the outer lying. Okay, so what we have right here is a 3-zone irrigation system. We have a zone in the front yard, we have a zone on the side of the house, and then we have another in the back. We have a backflow preventer. And then we just ran the water supply line direct from the basement out here. That's our line in. This is obviously open. This is our quick connect air for blowing the line, so we can actually have a shut off. We can shut it off from the house. And we have a stake in here. When we pull this out, you'll see the cable, and then if you were working in this garden, in this area, you could just rip this cable right out and bury it again.
Bring it up a little bit.
Okay.
Just stand out of the light.
Too hard, or I'm going to yank on the
Turn
cable?
it.
Okay. We have 3 different lights, right? We have the well lights, which we would use for our focal point, and bury these to look up, right, at our trees, our larger specimens. That's a good application for well lights. And then you want to add some floodlights, right? Again, you just run your line out here, throw a much broader light. And then a spotlight on your footpath. This is total crap.
Well, isn't that the emergency hose they use in buildings?
Can you just do the camera and not like what I'm doing? Wand, you know, everybody's got a wand. Everybody's got like all these different types of sprinklers with all these different settings, you know, like stream, jet, and all that. And they leak, and they're, you know, like some of the, you know, these guys, which you can never kind of get set right, you know. Like, I don't understand why. The old-fashioned little nozzle really does pretty damn good. You don't need that piece even, but whatever. These things. And almost every yard has a wand. You gotta have, I mean, I don't know, man. Why do you think that is?
It looks cool.
It looks cool.
Yeah, more.
Really?
It's
Well, it must work because people want it.
Can it-
You know, like, I see that and I want it.
It's a compensation.
These are commercial grade hoses. You can see how the connections are stronger, the hose is stronger, and the main thing is that they're not going to kink up. And you know, everybody's got like 2 or 3 tangled up hoses in their yard. Just get one of these. There's spray heads. You see how there's a spray head, right? Okay, and then rotors, where spray heads just do a consistent spray. Okay, so we're always putting a Y on because typically you want to still have a hose on. This way we can leave the hose on all the time and then turn the valve off. But this line, as you can see, is set up to run all the time. And then we set our timer. These things are very intuitive. For the most part, they're pretty reliable too. This is all for my 1/4-inch tubing when I'm setting up irrigation. I can move, you know, I keep a pretty good stock of this stuff. So for example, I have 1/2-inch plugs for my bigger hose, and I have a whole nother bag with 1/2-inch materials, but this is mostly for my 1/4-inch stuff, which is easy to lose. And so if I need to split and go run a line to make a turn, I have T's here so I could have a through line if I have to cut a line and make a turn, and then pull another 1/4-inch. This has these beautiful barbs. The beautiful barb. There's no leakage, amazingly.